What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Outside the Clutch. Sorry about last week. We had some stuff going on. We're gonna reschedule that person, but enough about last week. Um, I hope y'all are doing great. I hope you guys all have a happy and safe 4th of July, as it is 4th of July weekend. There are lots of people in my area that are already doing fireworks and like having the time of their lives every night. So it's always a fun time for us, especially with animals. Sometimes some dogs don't appreciate it. And yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, I want to thank you all that always come and support the show. You guys are freaking amazing. Tom, what's up? 808 Ball Pythons, what's up? Jose, what's good, my man? What's good? You guys, tonight's gonna be something a little bit different. We always kind of have an open discussion here, and I really like that about this. I think it's one of the things that makes this podcast what it is. But tonight's someone that I've really had the joy of talking to throughout the last couple of years. We haven't become the best of friends per se. Like we like each other's stuff and that. So I would say a good acquaintance. I like what he's doing. He reached out and was like, "Hey, I'd really like to be a guest." And I felt like it was the right time. We found a way to make this work. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to introduce him. Redline. Hey, thanks for joining. Christopher, Eric's More Factory. I see you guys. I appreciate it. Before we get to our guest, I want to just say husbandry is super important, guys. I think it's one of the most overlooked things in this industry, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without our sponsors. And if you're looking to upgrade your husbandry, well, there's only one place to go. Here at Outside the Clutch, we're honored to be sponsored by VivTech. Are you ready for innovation? Tired of the same boring product that's been used for 30 years? Ready to give your reptiles and amphibians the UVB they really deserve? Then look no farther than VivTech. Their 3-watt LED bulb provide the UV rays your animals have been missing. With 3 bulbs to fit your pet's climate needs for optimal husbandry, plus a dimmable feature, and it's the only bulb with a 2-year warranty in the industry. So what are you waiting for? Go to vivtechproducts.com today. Use code FCLUTCH0322 for 10% off to provide your animals the best care they've ever had. 15%. One of these days I'm going to change that commercial. Ryan's going to yell at me for that one of these days. So without further ado, I think we've built it up. I guess there's one last thing I want to say. We're super close to finally getting monetized on YouTube. And while that is not, I hate this. While that is not my goal per se, not my one goal with this, like this is more about just sharing my love of the industry and being with the people in the industry. We're super close, and anything that we make, we're going to find a way to, one, better the product that we're giving you guys, and 2, to better the industry itself. With that being said, you guys know with the thing or the ad that we just ran, VivTech. So if you use our code up until Arlington in September, we are donating all the money that we get from using that code to USARK. USARK's always in a huge fight, and that's something we're going to talk about. Let me jump to our guest, though. Like I'm rambling. I'm kind of bad of it lately. Dude is super hilarious. Like he has some of the funniest reels I've seen, and he's got a wicked awesome last name that allowed him to create this awesome last name. He's a big Star Wars buff, kind of like me and my family are becoming. So I'm super excited about this. We're probably going to talk some Star Wars, talk some snakes, talk all kinds of stuff, which is kind of what this was meant to be, is to bring the personality. But anyways, you guys, give a warm welcome to Leland Riker of Rikers Reptiles. But
hey,
what's up? How you doing?
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great.
Darth Vader was trying to make an escape.
Anakin, no! You were the chosen one.
No, I actually have a Anakin and a Darth Vader though.
Really?
Yeah,
Freaking awesome.
Anakin's a pied that's het for Desert Ghost, and Darth Vader's a clown that's het for pied.
Nice, nice. Jumped into the double recessives right away, I see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of got you into thinking of I'm gonna do it right off the bat, a Star Wars theme? Was it just
Um,
your last
you know,
name or just your infatuation
no,
with Star Wars, or what's the story behind that?
I've just always loved Star Wars. I mean, I love Star Wars. I'm not as geeky as some people. They know all the storylines of everything. I'm not that geeky. I just love Star Wars. And, it was a really big deal when I was a kid. It came out, the very first ones came out. I saw them in the movie theater when I was a little kid. It made an impression on me. And actually, when I started the collection, I didn't start it with Star Wars names at all. It was all with the TV show The Office, because the collection was in
Okay.
my
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
And so I just did the Star Wars theme for my logo because I love Star Wars. But then the names all started with The Office. And then once I ran out of those names, then I got into the Star Wars names, and I'm almost out of those names. And I've gotten to the Friends names, and then I'm going from Friends into I think what were my girls? They're the ones that give me the ideas at this point of what to start doing. But I was going to start doing Marvel probably because there's so many names in Marvel, and I
Yeah.
name all my snakes. So
That's awesome, man. Like not everyone does that. I've gotten to the point in our collection where I'm just like I was doing it for a while because I didn't want anyone to know the genetics when they just came and visited.
yeah,
So it's like, oh, what's this? Well, that's Ursula because she's kind of purplish, but I wouldn't tell them the genetics or something, right? So
so you can keep it
uh
under wraps.
yeah, like just keep not that anything's secretive, but it was just like it was a funny way to do it. And my wife is like, "Well, we need to name it. We need to name it. There are pets." And I was like, "You realize some of these pets are going to move a little bit faster than you probably want, so we can't name all of them." But
Yeah. So do
yeah,
you have any secret projects?
ish. I have stuff that not
I can tell
necessarily
by the way your
secret.
eyes
Like
are darting
everyone,
around.
everyone knows the genetics that I have, but they don't know. Like there's certain pairings that I'm not going to.
Reveal.
Yeah.
I only have one secret project, and I'm really good at keeping secrets, so you won't get it out of me. But I can kind of give you the story behind it. So I got this snake. I wasn't looking to buy it. I just was trying to help this family out, and I got this snake. So then I figured, when I need the money, I'll sell it. So
Right.
I grew it up for a few months, and then I listed it, and I was selling it. And he contacts me and says, "Hey, you can't sell that snake." And I was like, "Oh, why not?" He goes, "Well, if you can sell it back to me, or you could keep it, and I could tell you what we're doing." I said, "Well, no, I want to keep it. I want a secret project." So he told me what it was, and now I got to keep it and watch it. And this next season, it's going to get, or actually at the end of this season, it's going to get paired. So it'll be for next year. So we'll
So
see.
you started with The Office. Why The Office? And who's your favorite character? Because I
Uh,
think the person you like the most kind of tells your character
yeah,
as
I like Jim
a
probably the
person.
most out of the
That
office, and
makes
then
sense.
he's my favorite snake. He was the most powerful male that I got in the beginning. It's my Mojave Hypo Pipe, and put him to quite a few girls last season, and then this season I think he's got the season off. To be honest with you,
Oh, you're being
yeah,
nice.
he's not paired this year at all. He's got eggs in the incubator from the end of the year, and then the first season she reabsorbed because I was trying. I love blue-eyed Lucy's, and just to tell you, I mean it's a little dumb little story, but I went to go pick up Jan, who's just a Mojave, and I always wanted to make blue-eyed Lucy's from the beginning because everybody loves the white snakes, right? So I show up to pick up Lucy at Del Taco from the Python Pimp, which I wanted that name in the beginning too, but then I looked it up and it was taken. And it was just a coincidence that I found a snake that was being sold by him, and then I met him and bought his snake. And then I told him, I want to make blue-eyed Lucy's, but I want to make them with double hets. I want to make it het pied and het ghost. so that I have a cool snake and it looks cool, but then it could do something for me too.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, that's whatever. I mean, he was like so poo-pooing on my idea and my thing that I really wanted to do. And he's like, it's just such a dead end gene. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I guess you're right, but I like that snake, so I kind of want that snake, but then I want it to do something for me. So that's why I was doing that.
Yeah, it totally
But
makes
he's
sense.
right.
That's one of the things, man. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think there's no such thing as a dead end snake because you get new genetics that pop up all the time. So honestly and truly, there's no dead genetic in the industry, man. Like there's literally trillions of combinations you can make, and
Yeah,
there's so
you
much
can't
that
stop.
hasn't
It
been
just
made.
goes and goes.
Yeah. It's how you apply it, man.
So
What
she laid 9 eggs this year.
nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good clutch. What
So we'll see.
what made you go into snakes?
Well, I had reptiles when I was a kid. My dad for Easter gave me a red-tailed boa, and he handed me this Easter egg and said, "Don't drop it when you open it." I was like, okay. So,
One of the plastic ones?
no, it was a big one, but it was kind of like paperish, And
Okay.
and so I opened it, and the snake is right there, and it was a boa, so it was like coming at me. So I held it back, and then I opened it up and took it out and held it and whatever. And then we had it for a couple of years. It got bit in the mouth, and it died of rot mouth.
Mm.
Something it died from that. So I got another one, and then I had that one. It was named Randolph the second because the first one was Randolph, and then it lived about 16 years. And I also had a Savannah monitor, and I had a regular ball python. And then I was getting married, and my wife, at this point, my snake's like 9 feet long, and it's like fat, and its head is like huge because I built it the biggest. It wouldn't even fit out a door. I had to actually have it custom built and then custom rebuilt so I could move it from house to house because the moron who built it for me was in construction but didn't know what the measurement of a door was. So I had this huge cage for it, so it just got big, and then I fed it a lot, and then I sold it to a breeder because my wife was like, "Yeah, I don't want to have this around the little kids." We were just getting
Right.
married, and she was scared, so I sold it off, and then I didn't have any reptiles for I don't know 19 years, and then I work as a car finance guy at a dealership, so
Oh, you're one of those.
I'm one of those assholes.
Oh
Okay. Yeah,
no.
you're to get past your
Interview's over.
payment.
Fuck this shit. No, I'm just
Been good. Yeah, you're past your payment already, and I got to bump you another $100. It sucks, but it's my job for a couple more years. So anyhow, I meet really cool people at my job. So I met Jarrett Peters from Reptiles and
Mhm.
Giggity Geckos. So they're buying a Yukon, and there's no third row, and I'm like, dudes, why do you buy this with no third row? I've never seen this. I've been in the car business 20 years. I've never seen somebody look for no third row. And they go, well, yeah, we need to move products and stuff. And he was being very vague. And then he says, and we do shows. And I'm like, well, I used to be an artist and I did a lot of shows. So I'm like, what kind of shows? And he goes, oh, reptile shows. And then I really had my interest piqued because I love reptiles, right? So we get to talking, and then I say, hey, Jarrett, my daughter, she said she wants a yellow ball python, but I told her there weren't any yellow ball pythons, and she was probably thinking about like a Burmese or something. And he goes, no, they have yellow ones now. I said, really? And he goes, oh my gosh, when was the last time you looked at ball pythons? I said, like 20 years ago, 19 years ago, something. He goes, look at this, and he opens it up, Morph Market,
Oh man.
shows me a picture of his snake first. Smart guy. So he shows me a picture of his snake, and they always take him on these beautiful rocks and these gems, and they have great pictures. And it was just a simple, he called it a banana, but it was technically a coral glow. He told me later. But the coral glow, and it was a het for a clown. And he goes, Posset clown. He goes, I have this one. It's from last season. I'll give you a good deal if you drive out and get it. I said, well, life. So, wow. So what's the deal? So he said 150, and I said, done. I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her that snake for
How long
Christmas.
ago was this?
That was December 2019.
2019. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and then
that's I mean, yeah,
About
that's
6
market
months
value.
later,
It's
I
better
got
than
a
going to Petco for 350.
right. Yeah. So then about I don't know 6 months later, I got a like a bumblebee super banana. I think it was. It was really pretty. Probably one of the prettiest snakes I've had. And then it wouldn't eat, and it was so off food, and it never got big, and eat like once a month, and so there's no hope for that. And then I started looking more and more in morph market, and I started getting really excited about things like blue-eyed Lucy's and super scaleless. That's really what got me into it, was the super scaleless. That really, like, what the freak? So I started doing some research, and I started talking to my friends about it, and talking to my family about it, and I talked to my wife, and I said, look, I think I could breed snakes. And look at, these are all the snakes, and this is what I'm looking at. And she was like, I don't think it's a good idea. I said, well, let me just try it, and if I could do it, then I'll go in and get
Right.
a serious collection. So I said, I'll get 6 breed-ready females and 4 breed-ready males, and come right out the gate and see how it goes. And if I don't like it, I can always just sell it all. And she said, okay. So she blessed that. So I'm talking to my buddies at work and telling them about everything. And one of my bros is like, hey, dude, that's awesome. I want in. I'm like, well, I wasn't really planning on that, but I was like, okay. So he invested. We both ended up investing. We did about 18 grand that first year
Wow.
with all the stuff and the snakes. And I got a couple more snakes, and I got a couple more males. And then at one point, I still needed to keep growing and scaling, because I decided I was going to keep doing it. And then he wasn't wanting to keep scaling. You know what I mean? So I had to actually buy him out. I'm in the process. I'm almost done.
Nice. So let's jump back to it. So you're in one of the projects that I'm really excited about. A lot of people, a lot of people. I'm just gonna put it plain. A lot of people shit on it. They hate it. I think you know exactly where I'm going with it. Which just saying this, but the scaleless,
Yeah.
um, like just the some of the people that I've talked to, they're like, you should never breed those together. It's horrible. Why would you want to make a scaleless animal? It's like, what's what drew you to the scaleless? I guess like I'm trying to find a way to create. So I like it. So, but as a
I think it
combative
was just,
argument, you can't just say, well, I like it. That's why I'm going to do it.
now there's both sides of that argument. And in it,
Yeah,
and owning a scaleless, after owning a scaleless, I can see what they're talking about. But I mean, it is a living animal. It can survive. It can just be like a regular snake. It just sheds more, and it doesn't move. Mine doesn't move like a normal snake. It kind of flops around
yeah.
more,
I was watching that in one of your reels. That's
I don't
interesting.
know if everybody's is like that. In fact, I saw D and KG from Bomb Projects.
Hmm.
They've had them, and so I was able to hold their. That was actually the first super scaleless I held, was at the Anaheim Super Show last year at their booth. And that was the first time I touched a super scaleless. I had to look for 45 minutes to find them, because that show was so freaking big, and they had a
Right,
little
right.
booth like somewhere in the middle. And
Where are you
dude,
at?
I looked all over.
Where are you at?
Oh, I'm in Beaumont. Beaumont, California is out
Okay,
by kind of between Palm
I know
Springs
where it
and
is.
Riverside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was my second show. The first show I went to was the San Diego Super Show in 17, 18, 18. I'm sorry. So the San Diego Super Show in 18, and then Pomona 18, and then the Spring Pomona of 19. And I haven't been out there since. And it's something that a lot of my friends from out there keep hitting me up on. And I'm just like, man, I want to get out there. I want to get out there. I want to get when COVID hit and like the LA County restrictions went into place. Like, oh,
yeah,
you have to have a mask no matter what. And oh, you need I'm not going to get started on all that. We'll go down a dark rabbit hole. Anyways, I haven't been out to see my California friends since then. We'll just say that.
yeah. You should come out, dude.
We're talking
I'm
about it.
99% sure I'm vending at this show
Heck yeah, that's awesome, man. That's
this coming up
awesome.
weekend.
That's is this your first time, or have you been vending for a little while, or
No, so what basically happened was last year my first reptile show to ever go to was Anaheim.
Okay.
Then somewhere a few months back, I saw that the Brea was having a pet expo
Hmm.
in the city of Brea. Just a little shindig they put on before COVID, and then this is the first time they're doing it post COVID, and it gets like 3,000 people through it. So I put an application, and she called me right back and was like, "Yes, we don't have any reptile booths. I want you. I'll give you two booths for the price of one." So I was like,
Nice.
"Done." So then I called up my boy Tristan from Upscale Exotics, and he hooked me up with the display cases. So I was like, "Shoot, dude, come and sell at my booth." And so he came down and we hung out all day and sold snakes. It was fun as hell. And man, the fire department had to come and push us back 6 feet because we had such a crowd in front of our booth. Because my daughter was out there working the crowd and bringing them over and holding snakes, and then they were just mobbing up in front of the booth, and we were by the exit, so nobody could get in or out. It was a fire hazard. I caused a fire
That's
hazard.
awesome. That's awesome.
So they pushed us back 6 feet. We got set back up. And then my daughter was bringing in these girls that had never held reptiles before, and they were buying. Like one girl bought a $550 pied that was het for ghost, a Mojave pied that was het for ghost. And then I sold my very first hatchling, Boba Fett, that I wasn't going to sell. That was a yellow belly,
You sold
horrible.
boba.
I sold Boba Fett. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. She fell in love with them, and I just couldn't refuse her. She was so happy to have him, and so I
okay.
sold Boba Fett, $350, but two snakes to two girls that had never held snakes before. So
That's
I
freaking
thought that was
awesome.
pretty cool.
Okay. That's so I haven't done the sales side of it. It's something I'm super excited for. Actually, our first sales vending show is 2 weeks away now. Exactly
Oh,
two
really?
weeks from now.
Dude, you're gonna
And
have so much fun.
dude, I'm super excited. So the last time they were here, I did an education show, right? Like, that was their second show here. We're trying to set up a market in El Paso. So those that live in the El Paso area or like within a couple of hours and you listen to the show, come down 16th and 17th. Um, but for that, I watched it the first two shows and I was just like, man, this is missing something. This is missing something. Like we need to find a way to get people more excited. And I was like, you know what? So it's a Saturday Sunday show, which is really cool because a lot of the small venues they'll do like a 1 day show. They won't do
Yeah,
a full 2 day. And so I go Saturday and we're hanging out, and I was like, "Hey man, how much do you want for an education table tomorrow?" Like I'm just I want to get snakes in people's hands
yeah,
essentially, and like do some education, get people excited about the show, and so I got a huge I got a stupid discount. I almost got it for free, essentially. Um,
nice.
but so we go and I take a retic and corn snake, a couple of ball pythons, MBK, and a couple of tarantulas. And dude, like everyone that was selling, I was getting dirty looks from the people selling because like everyone sees, oh, I can hold a snake there. So
Yeah,
they all flock there initially, right? It was
yep.
like, calm down. Once they're done with me, they're gonna come see you again
And bye.
and buy, hopefully.
And they're
Yeah. And I
primed.
was like, yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm doing all the hard work for you. I'm selling your
Yeah,
snakes for you. Jeez.
yeah. Bring me
But
paper towels at least.
it was super exciting. And it was like the one thing I will say is I get super bad social anxiety, right? So like the pomonas, I have to change my shirt like 3 times. I'll bring three shirts or you
Yeah,
be a diverse throughout the day because I get like the nasty anxiety sweats when I'm there.
dude,
There's just too
that
many
is
people for
no
me.
joke. That anxiety, I
Too many
just
people for
found
me.
out what that's about. Just found out what that's about. It is so hard to deal with that.
Hmm.
So how do you deal with that? How do you eat? How how do you go about your day when
I
you're
eat
having it?
fine. I don't eat when I'm at the shows.
Oh yeah, okay.
So like there's something wrong with my mind, man. Like when I'm at a show and if my wife was here and not at the party, I'd have her like literally come in and say this. She gets super pissed off all the time because of this. But like I'll walk into a show, I won't go right at opening, but I'll go like probably an hour after opening, right? And from an hour after opening until the show closes, I'm just walking. I'm talking to people. I'm filming B-roll the first day. Like the entire first day, I I don't stop unless someone stops me and is like, hey, I want to talk to you real quick. Or it's like, we haven't seen each other for a year. How's a hug? How's the family? Catch up real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. And so that's my complete first day. We get to dinner the first day after the US Arc auction, and I'm like, I haven't eaten all day. I'm getting kind of woozy. Like I've had, I've had a liquid diet, if you want to consider that a diet, but like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so we do that, and then the next day, I get to like probably 2 hours before closing, and my wife's like, "We need to sit down and eat. I need food." And it's just there's something wrong with me during show weekends. I turn into a
You're in go
machine,
mode.
and I'm just in go mode the entire
Yep.
time, and I don't think about food. I don't think about drinking, nothing. Like even the beer that I drink, man. Like the only reason I drink it is because my friends are walking up and they're like, "Here, John." Like, "Oh, thank you." Okay, keep going.
They know they're trying to mellow you out.
Yeah, they're trying to slow me down, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
just went back to work after being gone for 5 months, dude. And I had to go back in, and they had a new computer system, all new products, new pay plan,
Mm,
new operations manual. I mean, everything was freaking new, dude. So I didn't, I couldn't eat. The anxiety was so bad. My stomach was in knots, and I was in sweats, and then I just couldn't eat. So I lost 10 pounds in 4 days. From Monday to Thursday, I lost 10 pounds.
mm,
And then
yeah.
finally today, everything's started to click, and I started to feel like I knew what the freak I was doing with all the codes and the buttons and the passcodes and all that crap. And then today, I finally felt like I could feel like the relaxing and the anxiety starting to fade away. But my girls have had anxiety their whole lives, and I never could really empathize with them about it because I just didn't know what it felt like. I mean, I knew it felt like to be nervous to step on stage and to perform when I was a performer, but that wasn't anxiety. That was
What'd
just
you
like
do?
nervous butterflies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you said you were a performer. What'd you do? Were you a
Oh, I used to be a
musician or
classically trained ballet dancer. Yep. I danced with the
I'm,
Houston Ballet, as a matter of fact.
I'm gonna get some crap for this,
Yep.
especially from my army friends. So actually, there was a very convincing young lady in the ballet school when I was growing up, right? And she came to all the football players, and she's like, "Hey, we need guys for our dance."
Always,
So we
always need
went,
guys.
yeah. So
Yep.
we went and we learned how to do like the basic stuff. And it was a Billy the Kid show. So it was pretty awesome because we were all in
Yeah.
cowboy get ups. And
Right.
um, opening night, I fly off the stage because I'm like leapfrogging these guys. And this thing is like, it was something that us guys came up with. We were trying to figure out how to spread out and do something within the dance, right? And the choreographer was having a hard time with it. And we're like, well, what if we just leapfrog?
Yeah.
And we're all in cowboy boots and spurs. And man, I leapfrog over the last person, and my heel catches the edge of the stage, and I just go off the
Ooh.
stage. Come back up.
Oh,
I like come back up just in time to like start doing the spins and bring the girl
that's
up for the
funny.
stunt and all that. But it was so bad. And
What? What? With
go
that?
ahead. Go ahead.
As of one time, we were doing Nutcracker, and the head came off of the Nutcracker, and it goes down onto the stage, but it rolled off the end of the stage, and there was an orchestra pit because this was with American Ballet Theater at LA at the Shrine, and it fell into the orchestra pit and hit one of the people in there, and then you could see the head come back up, and they go boop, stuck it back on the stage. It was hilarious.
So that's crazy, man. That's so funny. Uh, there was a mom opening night. There's a mom recording, and she's in my mom's crew. And this like we stay at her house to do like the Wednesday night Bible studies and stuff, right? And all she hears me say when my heel gets caught and I know I'm going down is fuck. Middle of the performance, I just scream it. And she has it on record, and I still haven't lived that down. Like every time my friends that did it with me, they start talking, they're like, hey, so how's it feel to have a record of you
Yeah,
screaming in front of all the Christians in the front row, and it's just like,
yeah. I would have ate
it's
soap
pretty
as a
bad. It's
kid.
pretty bad.
We
Yeah,
weren't allowed to
oh,
cuss
most
at all when I
definitely,
was a kid. That would have
most
been a bar
definitely.
of soap. Yeah,
I've had worse. Like my grandma, she realized I got over the bar because like I'd move the chunks around when she tried to
yeah.
scrub it. So she started using liquid because you can't do anything.
Ah,
It just like it sits there and it
so
foams
you're
up
fooling.
instantly. Yeah, yeah.
Disgusting.
But so
So
let's jump
toxic.
back to it a little bit, huh?
So toxic. Our parents are
Oh
trying to kill us.
wow, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's horrible, man. But how did you find yourself dealing with that first show? Like what are some of the what are some of the pieces of advice you'd want to give someone that
What
is getting into it?
the things I came into encounter learning on that show was I definitely needed something to hand out to people because I had a like a post-it note and I was writing my information on it like 40 times a day. You know what I mean? So I just went out to Vistaprint or called Vistaprint and then did an online thing with them directly and built my business card that way with them, and it's pretty dope. And they put my QR code on it and everything. And
Nice.
then I would say keeping track of the animals that were out, so I wouldn't take out more than two at a time. And then my daughter was in front and would keep eyes on those snakes, and then I stayed back behind the table and talking to the people and monitoring the situation there. So that having the extra person out in front is the way to do it, as far as I'm concerned. Um, because talking over the table is hard enough as it is. But if you're one on one and face to face with the person with the animal, they're most likely to buy it, because they're able to touch it.
Okay.
But a lot of these people don't. I go to these shows and they just sit in the back and sit in the corner. They're not addressing everybody that walks by. And it's just maybe they're jaded from doing so many of these freaking shows. They're over it. And that's
Well, I
kind of
think
like
it's
the attitude I'm getting, from a lot of these people.
so. It's funny you say that. That's one of the things. So I watched the Reptile Gumbo podcast the other night with Sean Gray, and Sean said something that and this isn't going to be verbatim. So if Sean sees this or Robert or Katie or any of them see this, don't quote me on this because it's probably going to be a little wrong. But the and the older people in the industry are probably going to hate on me for this, but the older people in the industry seem to have lost that flair a little bit, unless this is like really their whole income.
Right.
Um, those that are just looking to make a few extra bucks or whatever, they're at that point. They don't care anymore. And as weird as it sounds, during COVID times, there's just so much free money going around that people kind of got lax in their sales strategies and kind of lax in the way that like you were saying, like there you have to take that almost aggressive approach of a car salesman. And
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily like fully aggressive with that, but you have to
You kind of got to be a
you
circus
have to do that
barker just
approach.
to get them
Yeah,
over,
you
you
have to
know?
approach that person when they're not at your table, draw them into you. Like
Yeah.
you
Build
you have to
rapport like
create
that.
that conversion rate for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm really good at building rapport very fast because of what I do. So I literally have to build rapport with the people in 2 to 3 minutes, and then I got to jack up their budget. So it's like really difficult thing to do.
right.
Not everybody can do that. Some finance guys that I've trained, they're really good at the paperwork. They're really good at the analytics. They're really good at dotting their I's and crossing their T's, but they're not good people. They're not good. They're not personable. You know what I mean? So it
What do
just
you
really
what was so you said besides the basic information, and I cut you off. I apologize about that. Guys, I'm really bad about that. My wife told me that recently, and I've noticed I didn't notice it before. I'm starting to notice it now. So I feel bad to anyone I do this to. I'm gonna let you finish that thought. I'm sorry. I had a thought come up and I just started
no. Say
scratching.
your thought because now I forgot mine.
Oh, well, see what I did. So besides just like business cards or things like that, like a QR code to bring people to all your stuff, what do you think was the hardest part about setting up for vending? Like, I
That was
know
the
a
easy
lot of
part.
people. That's the easy part for you?
Yeah, setting up was easy. I mean, the hardest part was not selling them for less than I wanted to, because some people like really wanted it cheap. A couple of people really wanted it cheap, and I really wanted to sell the snake, but I really also didn't want to cheap sell myself. So that part was hard. Other than that, it was extremely fun, and it was awesome to engage with these people that most of them had never held snakes. You know, so I really enjoyed most of it. None of it was hard. Schlepping. Oh, the hard part was the night before, the prepping. That was the hardest part of it. Not the show, not the day after cleaning everything, but getting organized for the first time doing it. Like bringing extra stuff that I thought I might need, like paper towels, a Windex, and then going through my collection, making a price list for my daughter to work off of, numbering and IDing everything on the display cases to get ready, make a game plan of all this other stuff I had. So I guess the prep for it was the hard part, if I had to answer that way.
Okay. Yeah. No, that completely makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. I have for the last 3 months. Sounds so bad. Um, for the last 3 months, I've been like packing a box and unpacking it and like running through it and being like, okay, this is what I want to have underneath the snakes at the show. Um, I brought in heat tape because the displays, excuse me, the displays that I have don't have heat, so I have to run heat. I got a thermostat in the box so that I can set everything up. The electrical tape, ways to clean. And then I started, like I said, I started thinking about what I wanted to put under them. I was like, well, if I just do paper, you could just change paper out. It's not
Yeah.
too bad, but it kind of looks tacky too in a nice display, at least in my opinion.
You know what I did for that was the
Did you choose?
superior tub liners. I cut them all to the same size as the little pieces. So I sat there cutting for an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I know the people that do like the cards and everything, and they have an individual logo in every
Yeah,
slot, which it
those
looks
look great.
nice. Yeah, that looks really nice. It's just I don't know. I think my bouginess, as bad as that sounds, wants to come out in everything I do, and
Yeah.
sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, just keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
It makes life so much easier. But
You know,
we've
John, just get there,
yeah,
get it open, and do it. It's like ripping off the band-aid. You're gonna have so much fun. And it doesn't matter what your stuff looks like, or if you don't have the banner, you don't have the flag, or you don't have, the table covering. And I'm gonna look ghetto as what, doing it with and just dropping in on Bob's
oh, you're
booth.
good at
So,
Pomona. Well, I don't know about Anaheim, but I'm pretty sure at Pomona they give you tablecloths and everything.
oh yeah. Well,
Might be wrong on that. I'm not sure.
I'm literally just showing up with a display case and a couple of bigger deli cups for some bigger snakes that I have.
Yeah,
So I'll have about 16 snakes maybe,
nice.
and hopefully they sell quick.
I mean,
The hatchlings I'm selling at this show are going to be Spectre, Posset Pieds, and Yellow Belly Posset Pieds, and then I've got like 5 or 6 leftover hatchlings from last year that just need to go. I got to make space
right.
because I got 9 coming out of this incubator here in 2 weeks.
What do you are you kind of like near max capacity for what you want to be currently?
I am growing this year, going to be by a dozen. I'm going to hold back a dozen. And so by next year, this season, I started this season with 16 pairings, and then I sold one of them. So I have 15 pairings this season. And then my grow ups, I have about 22 grow ups that we're going to be in some form of getting ready by next year. And then I'll sell my initial breeders. I already have started selling my initial breeders, ones that I didn't really want to sell that I love, as far as just personality and great snakes and big clutch girls. But I can't keep them all. I need to make room for. I'm trying to work on double and triple and quadruple het stuff. And then I also have to hold back
Need all the rack space for
all
that.
my clown stuff and all my desert ghost stuff, and I got 3 projects for super chocolate, super enchy hypos that I'm trying to make world's first. I got 3 girls for that, so
Okay.
got to make room.
What's
3 more levels of this sucker are going to be here. I already ordered that. It's ready to be picked up. I'm waiting on Mike from Insane Clown Pythons to go get it for me with this cocoa,
is a good dude.
and then I'll be able to empty out another one of these VE6 racks to make it just hatchlings. So I'll have 3 VE6s for hatchlings, and then I'll have this whole thing for grow ups, and I got 8 V70s in the corner, and I got 9 Freedom Breeder 70 size down here. So that's plenty, I think. I don't want to go more than right now. I don't want to go more than 100 hatchlings. This season's going to be right at 100, and then I'll see how it goes, and then adjust my pairings next year to maybe grow by 50 if I handle 100. Okay, so I'm just going to grow in 50 increments to pace myself because I work 60 hours a week, dude, and then I don't have a rat supply. So by next year, I have to have my own rat.
Okay, so you're just in the process now of planning out your own.
The coolest thing happened, dude. I was talking to my groomer at Petco, Pat, who's, if anybody lives out in Beaumont, they should be getting their dog groomed with Pat. She's the best groomer there is. But I was talking to her. She's going through some personal issues, and I was telling her that I was looking for a spot and I need a house somewhere. If she knows anybody that has a house that's like not in the area in a subdivision, but somewhere where I could, grow rats. And she was doing it at my house. I was like, what?
Nice.
Are you serious? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I got a shed. I have solar. And I said, okay, well, I'd probably be able to pay you like $500 a month. So she's like, okay, well, let's do it. So we struck a deal. I still got to go see it and put together my list of what I need to buy, like an air conditioner and probably insulation.
I would very much recommend having 2. And very much recommend having at least 2 circulatory fans and a outlet blowout.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
get the ammonia out.
Yeah, the ammonia out, right? Because it'll eat up the AC. So everybody I know that the problem they have is with the AC coils and condensers getting eaten by the ammonia, and so I'm thinking of trying to get an outside unit that only has a hose that blows into it, and then have the other end suck out the ammonia and have a circulation fan also. So outside unit blowing it in all the way down and around, and then a bottom or a top opening sucking it out. So
that's
the heat,
that's literally what I have it set up. So I have a 2-ton mini split hooked into my garage.
Okay.
And I have 2 industrial fans on opposite ends of the garage so that air's consistently circulating throughout the entire garage, right? And then twice a day I sit there because my garage doesn't get hotter than, I think the hottest it ever gets until I open the garage door is 72 degrees now.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And,
so you got an insulated garage door.
I have an insulated garage door. The garage itself was insulated because I was going to use it as the snake room initially. And then we were like, well, we have this office. I'll use that because I don't know how fast we're going to grow the snakes. And then I looked at my wife and I was like, if I want to make a go at this and like do it as a business, I have to do my own rodents. Like, I have nothing against feeding frozen thawed. I did it for years. With what I'm trying to do right now, it's not cost beneficial. I think I was at 1/3 of the collection I have right now, and I was spending close to $500-600 on frozen thawed a month, which I spend less than that now to feed 3 times as many snakes and have all the rats and sell rats. So essentially, I feed my collection for free now because I sell rats. But
right, and that's where I want to get to, where I'm feeding him for free, making maybe a grand off the excess. That's kind of the goal, anyhow, to pay her, feed my collection, and make a grand.
And you're gonna make it like in California, dude. You're gonna make it. There's such a bad rodent shortage out there. Like every year, it seems like summertime. Every year, you see people driving half of California just to collect the.
Well, I drive 2 hours a week to get my rats now.
It's crazy.
I get them from a guy who's got an amazing setup with good AC units and a backup unit and keeps it tight, so he doesn't have issues with production. So that's what I had to find. I mean, I've been through 3 rat guys. So this is my 3rd guy. One I outgrew. I grew too much, and he just cut me off and didn't even give me, nothing. He just like cut me off. I was like, hey, dude, I'm ready to pick up. I don't have any. I was like, what?
That's horrible.
I was like, wow, what a jack. And I bought a couple snakes from him too.
Mm,
Yeah.
it's horrible. So I forget who it was, but someone asked earlier about bedding for their snake or their rats, and I use pine. Like I know some people are against it. I know some people like to use cedar. Some people like to use like the hemp and stuff. I just for the price that I can get it just makes sense. And I do like a deep clean every 5 days. So
Oh, yeah. That's
I,
really good.
the garage is attached to my house. So
Yeah.
if I let the garage get stinky,
Yeah.
the entire house gets stinky. So that
So how do you
I'm
go on
almost not
vacation?
going to let that happen. I don't. There's no vacation. No. So my friend, uh, I have a friend that I worked for at the ranch that I worked at, and he's kind of like a silent business partner. Like when I need help or because I have back issues from my time in the military, like if my back's really messed up,
Yeah.
he'll come over. Well, I mean, he pretty much comes over every weekend at this point now because that's our time to like de-stress and just talk shit and talk shop, and like
Yeah.
he gives me ideas from people outside of the industry, and it lets me kind of think of, okay, well, how can I apply that, which
Right.
I think is pretty important. One of the things I'd like to get back to is actually talking about that. So you said your daughter does a lot of the helping. Do they help with like the care of the animals themselves, or is it just at shows?
Oh, did I say she did a lot of help?
You said she did a lot of the crowd working, so I assume that's a lot of the help,
Okay.
because that's
Let me
bringing in
clarify.
sales.
Let me clarify that.
She likes to hold the snakes and talk to
Yes.
people.
Yeah,
There you
she'll
go.
hold them on clean. But I actually paid her to go to the show. 10% or whatever the profits off the showers, that's what she earned. So she made 85 bucks that day. But to be honest, all of the money that I make from selling snakes and breeding snakes is to send her to art school because she is a talented artist. She is like one of the most talented self-taught that I've seen. When I look at her stuff, it just blows me away. I'm like, how did you even do that? Like the first time she did an oil paint, it was amazing. First time she did gold leaf on something was amazing. And so I just want to help promote that in her because as I've worked my life all these years, I mean, I started working, I've been dancing since I was 3. I started getting paid when I was 16, and I've worked nonstop and I'm 51. And I've hated most of my jobs and almost everything I've done up to this point. So if she could do something that she really enjoys and is passionate about, and I can help foster that and do something with my collection to do that for her, that's what I want to do. That's my goal.
Okay.
You know, and art school's not cheap.
No, no.
So this
Especially
season,
not if you want to go to one where you'll actually get noticed.
right? So this season, even though I gotta keep 12 snakes, I gotta also make something like 40 grand. So that's the goal. It's a hard goal, and that the whole reason I started YouTube, it wasn't to get famous or to be somebody on YouTube. It was because my daughter said it's too hard. You can't do it, Dad. You can't do it. You won't be able to do it. It's too hard. And I said, well, if you take that attitude and you do that in your life, you'll never do anything. So why don't I do this? I got to make some guacamole here. I'm going to make a video and I'm going to be a YouTuber. Watch. So I made it. I made guacamole. I had just gotten home from work. I was in my dress clothes, and I made guacamole because we were eating dinner, and I wanted some guac with my chips and the Mexican food we were having. Filmed it, posted it, and started a YouTube account. So this was 2 years ago. My first video was on guacamole, and my second video was on how to get more money for your car when you trade it in. Then I started doing a couple of Vivid videos, and then I stopped. I just did a few videos, and I just wanted to show her that you could do it. But then the Vivid videos started going viral. 30,000, 35,000 views, like all these crazy views. For me, that's viral. The kids, they say it's like 1 million now. But, for me, that's pretty good. I'm used to getting like 50 views, right? So, so then I was like, holy cow, maybe I can do YouTube. and if I can do YouTube and I can get monetized, maybe I can have YouTube pay for my freaking rats. You know what I mean? So now I'm monetized. I'm gonna average probably right now around $60 a month with my crappy little video views that I have. I only have 1,437 subscribers, you know, and I
Oh
think
my.
only maybe 50 people watch my stuff.
It's I don't know, man. Like social media is it's something else. I like what you said though. Like you did it to prove your daughter's wrong. That's something I was talking to my wife. I was like, throughout my life, this is gonna sound really freaking bad. Um, throughout my life, I've done a lot of things, and one common denominator is I eventually quit. Right. Minus
Yeah,
the army. Like the army, I was forced out. They said you're too messed up. You can't stay in. I didn't want to quit that, but I got told
right.
I have to. But outside of that, everything else just it didn't find my appeal. And I was like, okay, a couple months or like automotive stuff I really enjoyed, but it's just I knew how taxing it was on your body. So I did mechanical work and part sales for about 2.5 years. And then I did actual car sales for like 6, 7 months because I recruited for one of the big dealerships. And I did that, and I was just like, I hated who I became as a car salesman, though. Like, I became a
Yeah,
straight
you
like
got to say
you guys,
anything to do the deal, right?
yeah. You think I'm super nice? Well, most people would still probably call me an asshole most of the time. I'm not gonna lie. They're nice enough to do it behind my back and not to my face. Uh,
Right.
but when I had a closing move, and this sounds so horrible now that I think about it, and it was something I was taught by a vet in the company, and it like I knew it was a sleazeball move at the time, but I still did it, right? And it was one of the tricks that the veteran taught us. He's like, I keep $100 cash in my wallet at all times, no matter what. $100 cash, right? And if you talk to your sales manager, they'll they'll say, okay, you can mark down to this, but after that, like they give you leeway to kind
Yeah.
of talk to the person in your office so you're not constantly going back and forth
Right.
until it gets to that crunch time where it's like, well, we might not make the profit margin that we want on this car. So I'm going to pretend like I'm talking to you and all that. Anyways,
Okay.
I'm not going to go beyond that. People know how car salesmen work. Anyways, so I'm going and this is horrible. You get to the people to the point where you're like, okay, I have to do something to get them to sign the line now. Like they need to sign the line.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm not going to make the profit margin. I'm not going to really get paid. I'm going to essentially give this car away for free for myself. And I have this guy. He had 3 kids within a year and a half of
Oof.
each other, man. Like so he had twins and then another kid right after. And he's getting all 3 of them cars
What?
within the same period so they can go to different colleges because they all decided to go to different colleges, right?
Dang.
And so I'm working a 2 car deal on the twins. And he said, well, I'm going to come back in like a couple of months for the other one. Like they'll be okay for a little bit. And so I'm working a double car deal, and he's trying to work it down and work it down, which I understand. And as you should, right? It's your money.
Yep.
You should keep it. And he hit the margin where I was like, okay, I got to make him stop. Like sales manager's not going to sign off on this, or he's going to make the monthly payments make it look like it'll fit within, right? If we stay here, if we go below this, I'm not going to make any money on this sale, really. Because so I pull out my wallet and I was like, man, I really understand. Like, you have a family, you have all these kids that you got to provide for, but this is what you're asking me to do. And I pulled my trash can out and I put it in front of him. And I started taking $20 bills and I started throwing it into the trash can. I was like, I have a family to take care of too. And you're asking me to throw my paychecks in the trash and not provide for my family. He was like, I never even thought about it like that. And he signed, and like, I shit you not, after I did this, I was there for 2 days. I walked into my sales manager 2 days later and was like, dude, I'm fucking dead. Like, I feel like the biggest piece of shit. Like, I drank that entire night to try to forget how I did this, dude. And I
Uh,
ended up making stupid money off of this sale.
did he buy the third car?
He did. he bought the third car from someone else because I was no longer
Uh,
there. But he came back and bought
uh,
the third car from the same dealership.
yeah.
But yeah, man, like I felt so bad. I probably went through damn near a 30 pack that night, just trying to forget what I
Wow.
did to this dude. And I made a solid probably 3.5 grand off of that one sale.
Dude, I met this dude one time.
It's
His name was Mike
uh,
Mike Cerna. He was a Native American Indian, and he comes into my office with two babies and puts them down. I'm like, oh wow, you got twins. And he goes, hold on. It goes away. And it comes back in with two more. He
oh
had
no.
quintuplets, dude.
Oh
He had
no.
four babies at once. And then he had to buy a 12 passenger van for the family because they already had three other kids, you know? Oh, I felt so bad for him. And then we actually got to talking, and he was a really cool dude. And he was like getting his life together and on the straight and narrow. Used to be
Hmm.
like a drug addict and had issues, and he was trying to like really pull his life together. And I told him, about golf because he was wondering what I did with my time to stay active, so I didn't get in trouble because I had a problem with in my past, with that kind of crap. So I said, I golf, and that it's like a 4 hour deal, and you don't really you have to focus, and it's something that you have to really work at if you want to be good at it, and you have to practice it. So that dude got into golf, dude, and I coached him, and I taught him how to play golf, and then he was playing golf like 2 days a week. So I'd always play golf with him all over the place, and we got to be really good friends. And then he moved away, so I lost my golf buddy.
Oh man. What's your game? Like how are you scratch golfer
So
yet?
no, I played one time. I wanted to get good, and I thought that if I practiced and I played a lot, I could get really good. But I should have taken lessons, but I didn't. I just like went off of videos and watched things and would spend all my money on golf instead of the lesson. And you should always do the lesson if you want to get better. And so I played like 2 days a week, and I got down to 87. And there were
Respectable.
some days I'd chip them in, or I'd get birdies, 3, 4, 5 birdies a game. But then once I stopped practicing and I stopped doing that, I just got better. I got better equipment. I played with crappy stuff for like 15 years. 15
Right.
years I played with these crappy irons, dude. They were called like Wolves. I think they were called Wolves or something. They're like garbage, right?
Hmm.
Then I went out and got Cleveland high bores. And then after I didn't really like the whole hybrid set, I got another set of Cleveland regular cavity backs. And that's what I have now. But I can't play. I have 3 herniated discs in my back, and I have two
Hmm.
ripped shoulders. So can't play anymore. It's been 2 years.
That's rough, man. I
Sucks.
love golf. I joke with my friends that want to play here locally, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a scratch golfer for like the first 3 holes. After that, I've had about 4 or 5 beers, and I'm lucky if I can keep from making bogey the rest of the holes. But
It was always so
it's
for
fun,
me,
man. It's so
golf.
fun.
If I had a bad score, it bummed me out for the rest of the match. So I never really drank when I played or anything. Just I played and it was business because
Well,
I was
so
into it.
that's the way I start it. But once
You
I
know.
start feeling like I have to have a couple of drinks to loosen myself up and like get in that rhythm, and then once the swing's smooth and everything's like in perfect rhythm, right? And you start
And then
going, and then you get too comfortable,
right,
and then you just keep going, and you're like,
but
it's
it's
not
that
that
good
important.
shot.
Let's just have fun. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that
But
bad.
it's that one
But
good shot that gets you coming back, though. Like I remember I was in the fairway in a fairway bunker, and then on my second shot, I hit a 7 iron out of the bunker. And these bunkers were not sand, by the way; they were like hard packed clay with rocks. I hit it, picked it right off the top, perfect, landed it right on the green, and then I proceeded to three putt. But
hmm,
that was like my best shot for that day. I'd never hit out of the sand trap and landed on a green before, so I was so pumped up about it.
hell yeah.
But it's like that; those kind of things would be making me come back and play more golf.
I love it, man. And I'm trying to get my son, my oldest, involved. My younger ones love swinging the clubs, but it's just like You're not there yet. Like there's no coordination yet. You're just a wee bit too young. We'll get there eventually. But
It seemed like when my daughters were playing with me, it was always 50 yards. They would hit it and it'd just be like 50 yards, 50 yards, 50 yards. So they would tee off with me. Then I'd pick their ball up, drop by my ball, and then they'd hit the next, and I'd let them hit all the way up to the green and just keep hitting. And then after like 2 or 3 holes, they were over it and just wanted to drive the golf cart. So that's basically how it went with my girls.
nice. I mean, he likes it. We haven't played like an actual round yet. I don't know that he has the attention span for that at all. But we'll go to the driving range for like an hour, and then we'll go to the chipping portion, and we'll mess around there. And he likes to sit in the sand trap and like shoot it up a couple times and hit the top of the sand, watch it roll back down. Then he starts getting pissed off and just grabbing him and launching him onto the green. And we'll do that. Then we'll go putt for like half an hour or something. And
How old is he?
he's 6.
Yeah, probably like when he's around 10 or 11. That's kind of like when some kids start like getting into it, and they have a lot of scholarships for golf, dude. So if he could get into golf, that'd be a great way to get scholarships.
But yeah, let's get back to it. We've this was a strange one so far. We've gone everywhere but snakes. What's one of your most anticipated projects, and what really pushed you into that project?
Well, this year probably one of my most anticipated is the Super Inchy Super Chocolate Hypo project, because I got one of my girls is ready for that, and I'm super hyped on that. It's not an expensive, clutch, but it's something I enjoy and I like, so I'm pumped up about it.
Okay.
And then I did a loner with Tristan, and that one's pretty cool because I didn't think I was. I got a yellow belly red stripe het clown from Mike at Redline, awesome dude, and I didn't think that snake was going to do anything for me for another year because I didn't have a female to put it to, because the female's not old enough yet. I'm trying to make Pompeii snakes, and so my blackhead spot nose freaking fire het clown isn't ready. So I was like, well, what can I put him to? So I waited till I got a couple girls ready, and I put him to a couple of those girls. But I was talking on one of these like lives, and no, it was Tristan was on a live, and we were in the comments, and he said something about wanting to get red stripe in his project, and I bought 4 snakes from him already. I knew him, so I messaged him and said, hey, dude, I got this male here. I mean, we could use him this year if you want to do something with him. So he looked at a couple options he had, and he had a sulfur blade clown visual. And he goes, I'd love to get that red stripe into that. So I said, okay. So he dropped it off. I got like 4 locks in him, into her, and she's already laid. So we got 5 eggs.
Dude, that's the craziest thing. I had a pairing this year, and it was something that me and a guy here locally talked about. And he dropped it off, and he was like, well, I have a couple of girls back home that I really need to put that male I dropped off with you to, right? I was like, all right, no big deal. Let me pair them for a couple of days. We'll see if they even lock. You can finish off your season and then bring. Kids came back in.
They got cake.
Yeah, they got excited.
All
And
hopped up on cake.
I paired one time. They locked one time, and then we ended up getting a clutch out of it. I was like, well, dude, we're good. Like, the odds on that is stupid, but crazy, man.
And then the other clutch that I'm pretty excited about is this snake that I got from Nick at Lovera Exotics. Mm-hmm. And Nick's a pretty cool dude. We talk a lot.
Man. I love that dude.
So we're talking about, I want to do clown pieds. And he goes, well, I got this cinnamon pied that's Heifer Clown coming up in this clutch. And he goes, I'll sell you one of those. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I bought it from him. And then he mails it over to me. And I was like, look, so I want to get the male too. So I need the clown that's Heifer pied. So that was Darth Vader. And he goes, yeah, I got those. They're coming up. He goes, so it hatched. They came out. and then he decided it was definitely clown het pied, and then it wouldn't eat. I'd already
Oh
bought it
no.
in the egg. I bought the egg. I was like ahead of time. I'm gonna buy it, So I gave him the money, and
Oh
and then
man.
it wouldn't eat and wouldn't eat and wouldn't eat and wouldn't eat. So like I want to say a month went by, or maybe 2 months goes by, and then he goes, "Dude, I got another pairing, same pairing, different snakes, so unrelated." And he goes, "I'm gonna have another one." So that one hatched. Now one ate. So I got a couple meals in him, and then he goes, "Okay." So he sent me the picture. I just didn't like the head stamp on that one. It was not as good looking as this one. And
Right.
I showed the two pictures to my daughter to get somebody else's opinion what you thought. And she goes, "Definitely that one." And that was the one that wouldn't eat. So I said, "Just send me Darth Vader." So she sent him, and he's fine. He eats fine. He's like 600 grams now. But I stuck him in right at the end of the season with her, but she was to Han Solo. So she was a Firefly, or he's a Firefly spot nosed clown in with my pied Hetfer clown. So I wanted to make some clowns, and then I threw him at the last second. Didn't see any locks. 2 times he went in. I didn't see any locks both those times. But I've also had Daryl. I hardly saw any locks with Angela, and they had all kinds of babies. So I'm really hoping that I have a clown pied in here. But then one of the eggs molded,
Mm,
so I got a real stinky egg in here right now. I
mm,
took I took the egg, separated it out real carefully, and then somebody from I'm not gonna say who, but he told me to rub the mold off. So I
mm-hmm.
did very gently with the paper towel. Didn't even dent the egg in. I did it so soft. And then I talked to Antoine, and Antoine was like, "Yeah, get the water and the flour concoction, and then mix it in the gold bonds, and then paint it on there, right?" So I did that too. So it's separated in its own egg box, all shellacked up with this gold bonds, and I'm really hoping. But each day gets stinkier and stinkier, dude. So I
Oh
got I
man.
got 28 days to go. And
Oh
when I
man.
candled it, I saw two eyeballs looking back at me. So I know there's something in there.
There's something there.
Yeah, there's something there.
Hopefully it's still alive by,
Have you
would you
ever had
say,
one make
28
it
more days?
a month?
I so no. Never.
Never, right?
I've had one clutch before this year. This is only my second year producing. So I'm really not that deep into the game, but so my second clutch this year, they came out, they all had veins, but the texture, like they weren't slugs. They didn't look like slugs. They weren't off colored, but the texture, like when I picked them up, I even called it. Like I told my wife, I was like, there's something off with the texture on these. I don't think these are gonna make it. And we
Were they
put them
like
in, like,
stucco on the outside? Like,
yeah, they were soft.
oh,
They were super soft, and it was almost like the calcium layer didn't fully develop on the eggs.
yeah.
I was like, there's something off on here. It's 6 eggs. All of them had super weak veins. Candled everything. Did it the same way I do all clutches. To the point, I had 100%, or no, I'm sorry, 99.99% hatch rate. I had one that kinked and ended up passing away in um, my very first clutch ever, but I think it was because I didn't have an incubator at that time.
Uh,
So when I got them, I had to drive 15 minutes in the middle of winter, and like I'm holding them to my body, and like I
what?
have them wrapped up, and I get to the truck, and I ran the truck long enough to where I could, oh my goodness, run the temperature inside the truck and verify it's at 88 degrees, right? And you better cut that out, young man. Go see your mama. And so I drive it over to my friend's house. It's about 15 minutes away. We put it in his incubator. We leave it alone. My incubator comes in, and they're like 2 or 3 days from being cut anyways, right? So it's like, well, I'll just move them to my house. I'll do it. And this egg's right in the center. So if it was gonna go bad or anything happened, it, like, all the stuff on the outside should have, in theory, gone first because the heat's gonna stay in the center longest. I get through and I'm cutting eggs and I look at it and it's it's probably the best orange dream animal I've ever made
Mm.
in my life. And it's super kinked and it only got like a quarter of its bottom jaw. And
Oh.
it was a super rough way with the first clutch, man. Like just super rough, but
So it has
it's
shark jaw and kink.
and so
Wow.
I don't know like it, but it was fully scaled, full color, like it formed all the way. Belly was like it was still trying to absorb yolk, and I was like, I like you just know at that point you have to euthanize it. Like there's nothing you can do about it. And
How do you even do that?
I didn't. I put it back in the incubator and I went to talk to people like how would you euthanize? Like
Yeah.
how are you going to do it? Um and most people just say freeze it. Like because they're ectothermic and they need that body heat once they get below a certain thing. It's essentially like us being put on being gassed.
Hmm.
You go to sleep and you don't wake up, right? And so I go back and I get everything set up, like I get a couple bags together so the fluids or whatever happens, because in my mind I'm like all these crazy scenarios are running through, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, the only deep freezer I have, I also keep like excess food in, so half of it's food and then it's like separated and the other half's but medical background. I'm like that's not sanitary, so I have like multiple bags and all this other stuff, right? And I get ready to do it and I come back and it's already gone. So like
uh,
essentially we cut it. It was breathing for a couple
yeah.
hours and it just gave up,
Well, my plan for
unfortunately.
that is feeding it to something else.
Well, at the time I didn't have anything
I
that
don't
would eat
either.
it.
I
Yeah.
have friends with things.
So that's why I have MBKs now, is
Oh
because
yeah.
if something like that happens now, I have a male MBK that's big enough to take down hatchling ball
With
pythons.
the MBK.
The Mexican black king snake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The
Those are
poor
cool.
man's indigo.
I would have that. I would have that. Those are
Um,
cool.
yeah, they're gorgeous. They're super fun to work with, man. But that's essentially what he's for. And I have a female growing up, so I'll have two of them if time needs, and then I'll be breeding those as well. I'm super excited for
Nice.
those. But yeah, man. Are you strictly just ball pythons at this point? Is there anything that you want to breach out into besides ball pythons?
I
Or
thought about
what's kind of
doing
your plan?
blood. See,
I love
this
those.
is how I think. Can I lift it later when it gets bigger? Can I store it? No, probably not. I want to do bloods, but short tails, I don't. I just don't know if that's in it for me because I can't lift anything. So basically, I was thinking, well, what about dwarf retics? Because those are a little bit lighter, but they're a little squirrelier, right?
Well,
And
and
longer.
even with dwarf, so even dwarf retics can still get 12 feet plus.
Right, but
And
then they're
still weigh
skinny.
a lot. But
What do you think? They'll be
there's
40 pounds?
you could still get dwarfs that are over that, guaranteed.
Yeah, so maybe
Guaranteed.
not. I mean, I'm still in
Even
the thinking
super
phase of
dwarfs.
that.
You have some locality in super dwarfs, and we'll be talking to the man himself here in a couple of weeks. But
Garrett?
he'll eventually be on here. We're working that
Oh,
right
cool.
now. But even some localities of super dwarf, based off of the locality and like the food for they're still a larger super dwarf, right? So they still
Right.
hit 10 ish feet, maybe even bigger. And
Well, I like
obviously
the
that
idea though.
it's all biased off of like feeding and how you
Right.
keep them. Like I know people that have super underfed, and myself being one of them. I had to really work on that. Like I still have a mainland, and she got stunted in growth because when I was first coming up, this was one of the first snakes I got. Like I fed her, she would get, she would even get multiple rats every week. But I kept her in too small of an enclosure for too long, and I kept her on small rats for so long when she needed more. She wasn't getting. she wasn't getting what she needed to really grow. And it's, I wasn't trying to like stunt her, but it was just, it was my unknowing. And that's why I think a lot of people really shouldn't ever touch retics. Um, it's
I
hard,
like
man.
the
It's
idea
hard.
of retic. I don't know if
Glue,
it's for me.
yeah, especially if you have issues. Like I love retics, man. Like I have a stupid infatuation with retics, but it's definitely, if it's something where you have an issue with your shoulders too, and
Yeah,
like you have an issue reaching up, I would push against it, in all
yeah,
honesty, because they like to climb. Like
yep,
even as bigger, like my mainland right now is, she's probably around 8 feet, 9 feet. And the first thing she does when she gets up is she climbs and she tries to find the highest point in the room.
yeah,
So, and when they go, man, when even at that, like she's not that big. When she grabs onto something, like she cuts off the circulation to my hand completely. Like my hand will go completely purple when I first get her out of her enclosure and work her until she
yeah.
calms down. So it's a big responsibility. I would 100%, and this isn't telling you what to do because I would never tell another man what to do. You have your own life. You do what you want to do, right? But 100%, I would look at a colubrid because they're not going to
Oh,
get
what?
as big. Some sort of colubrid,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have a corn snake
like
too.
some sort of king snake or like a bull's. Well,
I
even
like
bull
the
snakes
king snake.
get
I'd
pretty
probably
big.
see myself going that direction. The black king snake, I like that. I also like there's a black corn snake that has like yellow on it. I think that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I really want to get something that would eat like the offcasts of the dead snakes and the over, the excess rat or whatever,
One hundred
So
percent a king snake, dude. Like
yeah, so I'm
once
thinking
you get
probably
it
like the king
to
snake.
an adult. So the one
Yeah,
thing I will say about that is like if I don't know what size you feed, all my ball pythons, regardless of their size, they don't get anything bigger than a small.
I'm doing
I
large
don't feed over
weaned
that.
on it. I get 30 large weaned. I get 8 smalls, and I get 3 mediums, and then I get about I usually get about 5 pups too, and some of those I just end up freezing to use for later. But mostly the bulk of it is the 30 weaned, then 8
See
smalls,
all
and
that they could put down.
3 mediums, and then I do frozen too. So I also have to pick up frozen once a month. So I'm spending about 400 a month on feeders, and then I have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15 on live. Out of I got 65 snakes right now. 15 are on live.
So
But
out of all of that, I probably wouldn't feed the small rats to them unless it's a full grown adult. And even then, if I fed a small rat to my male king snake, I probably wouldn't feed him for like 2.5 weeks.
yeah,
Even though they have a super fast metabolism and they seem to do
you don't want to grow
like
them
go
out like
through.
that.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that's such a big meal for them. So they're not even technically supposed to have rats, depending on who you're asking.
It's
Like most
mites,
people
right?
say, yeah, most people say as long
Yeah.
as you give them a large mouse, that's adequate nutrition for them per
My
week.
corn snake will not eat a large mouse, and he's like fat enough to eat an extra large mouse. But since the people we rescued him from would only feed him like fuzzy, fuzzy mice, I mean, little prey is all it wants to see. So I'll throw in like a couple small live mice, and it'll
Mm,
pound 2 of them.
right.
Or if I have leftover mice hoppers from like first starting to feed the hatchlings, because I always start with mice hoppers, and then if I have leftovers, then I'll just throw like 2, 3, 4 in there, over the night or in the next night. I'll keep the hoppers in a little cage in my room, like a 24-hour period, because sometimes they won't eat that one day, but then you throw the
Right.
next day, and then they eat it that next day. So I'll have like 8 hoppers at any given time in here. You know what I mean?
So that's actually, so being relatively new yourself. Not saying you're new, but
No, I
you
am.
have
This is my
you
second
have
season,
yeah 2-3 seasons, same as myself.
second breeding season.
What do you think was the hardest thing for you to kind of wrap your head around coming into this industry?
Um, I guess learning all the genetic stuff, but I'm still learning, and it's just trying to hone in on one area, whereas there's so many areas you could be in. So I think the part for me that's the hardest is reining back and only being in these projects, because I want to be in puzzle, I want to be in psycho, I want to be in everything. You know what I mean? And I just can't. I don't have the space for it. So I got to do what I do and then make it a little extra, or make it, try to go for the world's first, or try to get everything in a double head, or a triple head. Um, so I just had to try to figure that out. That's the hardest part for me, I think. Good with the making the ads and the selling the snakes and the talking to the people and going back and forth with everybody and being super nice and friendly and over accommodating. But the part was the planning and the strategizing on 5 years from now, and not
Right.
2 years from now, So it took a lot of hours of research and genetic wizard calculations. And I mean, I have clipboards over here behind this camera that are loaded up with all these different pairings and possible outcomes and possible clutch totals, all this possibilities. And most of it's not going to be true. It's going to be whatever they're going to do, so
Right.
that's probably the hardest part for me.
Nice. I like that. What do you so what do you think is like, so what I meant with it, I guess I'm trying to drive something else out of you. Like in the care of the animal, or like bringing the animal up, like before you even get to breeding, what do you think was the hardest thing for you to learn? Like,
Um,
is it?
in the
And I
beginning,
understand the genetic
yeah.
identification, or like how it works, but like as far as husbandry, or as far
Well, I
as
kept
like
snakes for
why to keep
16
these.
years.
Yeah,
I kept snakes for 16 years, so I was
that's
kind of
true.
used to
I didn't
keeping
think about
snakes,
that.
but it was keeping them in a different way. I mean, I never kept them in tubs and racks and stuff. So I started off with buying just those Costco shelves, and then
Okay.
plastic tubs that I put holes in and put heating pads on. And that's kind of how I started with. I had a dozen of these freaking tubs in my room, right? With all these Chinese pads that had the dials that would never stay at the right temperature. So the hard thing for me the first season was temperatures, and going through this whole rack and making sure all the pads were the right. And I'm so OCD that drove me nuts. So after 6 or 7 months, I was over that and started buying the VE racks. So
Okay.
that was the hardest part, I believe. And then the other hard part that I have is with killing the rats. That part I struggle with every week. It makes me sad, because I gas them. So I pre-kill. So it's just that part's
It,
rough.
it sounds like there's a chore that your daughter needs.
Yeah, she won't do
I'm
that
just
part.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
She
Bad
won't even
dad
be in
joke.
the room when I get
Yeah,
the little.
my wife and kids are like other side of the house when I feed, and
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I hate doing it. I absolutely, they got to eat though, and
yep.
we've
That's what I
just
keep telling myself, and then I pray over. I actually pray over the rats when I put them down like a hunter would for their game, and I say a prayer, and I don't know if that's doing anything, but it makes me feel a little better, you know.
as long as it makes you feel better, man. I mean, I do the same. Well, not for the rats, but like, so my dad's like a super avid hunter. Like anything about whitetail or duck hunting or even fishing, and he's just he's all about it. But we're also very particular about what is going to be harvested. You know what I mean? Um, and when we do it, we stop before we end up taking the life, and we say, well, with deer, not so much because you just don't have that time to do it. But after we harvest that animal, we say a prayer over the body
Yeah.
and thanks for what they did. We, oh,
Are you here?
yeah, I got you. You're just
Okay.
frozen.
Just give me a second. I had to
Okay.
text somebody. They're coming over. I had to give my address. I'm still live. Text me when you
Is
get here.
that what's his name?
Uh-huh. I'll tell you what's going on. Hold on. Let me get out of here.
Special guest appearance potentially.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, here we are. Yeah, so
uh,
basically, he was coming out not to see me. I, I had to tell him if he's coming to my town, he better come by. So, basically, there's another guy over here that's creeper ball pythons. He just kind of started, and you're a total hobby dude, but real nice, awesome guy. And so we've been getting to be friends and talking back and forth and stuff, and going to his house and checking out his animals and things. And then he ends up talking to Black Ivory today, and then threw my name out there. And Black Ivory said, "Yeah, I know the guy," because Black Ivory came here for like 3 hours one night and schooled me on all of the YouTube and the TikTok algorithms, and
nice.
cleaned up my act on 3 of my platforms, and then did a lot of content over here because I had that super scaleless. It was just fresh, and then I had a clutch to cut. So we had a lot of content that day for him. And then today he was heading over to his house to buy some of his snakes from him, because this guy is so big, dude. He's got tens of thousands of followers, and he doesn't have enough inventory because he's got so many, people hitting him up for snakes. So what a good way to get, rid of some of the snakes I don't need. So I hook him
Right.
up, and he hooks me up by freeing up some space in my racks,
Okay.
and he's a good guy.
So let's I know you're a Star Wars fan, and I kind of hinted that we were gonna go this route. I I watched every trilogy as they came out, right?
Yeah.
And now that I have a family of my own, it's really become kind of a pastime, and we're watching like the cartoon Clone Wars and all of that, right? So
Yeah,
that
you're building him
they
up.
get the full circle. Well, they even watch the adult ones. Like all of my kids, even the 3-year-old, has literally sat through every Star Wars movie at least once in their life.
That's pretty good.
Um, and they seem to really enjoy it. They like watching the lightsabers and the fights, and they want to mimic it and have fun with it, which it's all good. My wife's really enjoying it. Like my wife growing up, she didn't really have the attention span, or didn't really sit down and watch a lot of movies. So we were like, it's been funny to like kind of, I don't want to say culturize her, but that's what I call it in my lifestyle of being a lazy movie watcher.
Right?
But
It sounds like
what
something you do with cottage cheese, though.
yeah.
Culturize.
What made you decide on the Star Wars logo and like the following that you do?
Um, I don't know. It started. This is how it started. I wanted my daughter to have her artwork on my logo, so
Okay.
I said, "Draw me a couple snakes." So the first snake was Elio, so she drew Elio, and then the second snake we got was this pied, well, it's breeder. My first breeder female was a pied, and it's Phyllis. So she drew those 2 snakes out for me, and I kept pestering her to do it because she was dragging her feet on it, and then she finally did it, whipped it out in like 10 seconds. It was awesome in like 10 seconds. And I'm like, wow. So then I took that, and I got a hold of Solomon Wise at Eastern Florida Pythons. Cool dude. And he had just started doing the logos. So he goes, well, what kind of things do you like, and what do you want to, do? And I said, well, yeah, I'm really into Star Wars. I like, outer space. I like galaxies. I like stars, and I want my daughter's artwork on here. So if you could do something with Star Wars theme, with the Star Wars text, and Darth Vader's helmet on there somehow, and get these snakes in there. Also, I'd like to see what you could come up with. So he whipped it up.
Big order, man.
Yeah, it was a big order. And he knocked it out of the park. We had to change Darth Vader's mouth and his helmet and his eyes just so we didn't have infringement, copyright stuff. So it's enough different that, it doesn't look like Darth Vader really, but it kind of does, at the same time. So I don't know. That's just how it came to be.
Okay. Nice. I like how you you've found a way to kind of incorporate who you are as a person within your logo. I think that's
Yeah,
super important for branding yourself. Well, not even just branding yourself, man. Like I think that's where a lot of people falter is they like they come up with something or they see everyone else doing this and they get the ambition to do it. So they throw the first clip art that they could come up with.
right.
And then that's a logo for a couple of years. Then they redo it. And I'm not guilty of this. I paid someone way too much money for my silly cartoon logo that I had for the longest time that we're
Hi.
redoing right now. But oh hi.
Hi. I have to tell my wife somebody's coming to the house. She'll kill me. Hey, babe. Justin's coming over. The black ivory. He's just gonna be here for a few minutes to buy some space. Oh, sorry. I almost
Oh,
killed
you're
the.
good. The best part about that is that's going to be in the audio only version too, because I don't edit those.
I don't care. I don't edit. You know I don't edit.
If Leland is not around soon, you know what happened, guys.
Right?
Oh man. So I gotta ask with that background, and we talked recently, and you said you watched all of the new series like in 1 week, essentially, which is a lot
Yeah.
of
So
time in front of the TV. I'm
I'm
just
off, right?
saying.
Listen, I'm off for 5 months, right? And I figured, at the beginning, I had been through Mandalorian. Okay, so I had made it through the first season of Mandalorian, so I had that under my belt. I started the second season, episode in, but it had been so long I couldn't remember what really happened at the end of the first season. So I had to go back to watch the last couple episodes of the first season, and then I got into the second season. Did knock that out in like a day or two. Then I was like, oh shoot, I should just roll right into this next one. So I think it was Book of Boba Fett
Boba
was
Fett.
next, I want to say.
Mhm.
And so I ended up knocking that one out because they weren't that long. They were only like 40 minutes or something like that. So I rolled through those in like 2 days, maybe 2 days, 3 days tops, and then got right into Obi-Wan, which I think is the best so far.
I love it.
Yeah, the acting was a
So
little cheesy for me in the Boba Fett one, Book of Boba Fett. I don't know if it's the pro wrestler was throwing it off for me, uh, or what, but it was a little cheesy, the acting.
that's one of the things I've enjoyed from it, though, is like, so we watched episode, what was it, episode 1 or episode 2 yesterday? It's 2 because they're coming back and protecting Senator Amidala.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so it's episode 2, and we're watching where Boba Fett told I forget her name to make the hit on Amidala with
yeah,
the worms, right?
right,
And my wife's looking and she's like, is that the Mandalorian? Like she's trying to piece it all together. Like, no,
yeah,
that's Boba Fett. You remember his protector in the book of Boba Fett. That's her, but it's not the same actor and or actress. And so I'm piecing it all together for her, and she's like, "Holy crap, they're doing a great job of
yeah.
storytelling,
The way
like bringing it back in." Yeah,
Favreau is great at weaving a story. It's really impressive. He's got a great mind, Favreau.
I I've loved all his works, man. Like he's did such a good job with Iron Man, and then he went in and he's done so much of the
So
Star
much stuff.
Wars and the Marvels, and everything that he's touched is man. He
What was that
what
TV
he
show?
does well is he knows how to like he's made all these series and you have to watch all of them now. Like that's what he did so well with the Marvel movies, and then he took
Yeah.
that into TV series, and now it's like you in order to get the whole story for any of it, you have to watch everything. Hi,
Did he
honey.
did he have his hand in Entourage also?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love that show. Are you getting in trouble for going long?
Yeah. It's okay. Come say hi.
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 Can't
How
hear
was
you
the
very
party?
well, but there we go.
How was the party?
It's good. It's still going.
Yeah, I heard you're gonna have fireworks.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We gotta get back out there with the fireworks. 'Cause
All
I can
right.
already hear it there started.
Okay. We'll wrap it up.
No worries. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah, take your time, but hurry up. The kids are out of control, and you need a helper.
That's exactly what that was. Oh man.
I have a 3-year-old grandson. I know.
Nice. What's all right? Well, we'll start doing the wrap up. I don't want to be in the doghouse tonight, guys. Especially with fireworks going on, and I have like a whole bunch of fireworks in the closet right now,
And you have to light. So
well, if I don't have to light them, but if they don't get used, there's a potential that they could be used as a weapon. And like Leland said earlier, I might not be alive for next week's show if I don't. So
right.
you know how that goes. Love my wife though; she's amazing.
Yeah.
What's some advice that you would want to give to someone coming into the industry right now? If you could pass off any advice to someone.
I guess not just to buy any breed ready female that's just ready to go because you want to make babies and have numbers. Buy what you're going to plan to want to keep and have. So a lot of people just buy that, pastel spider because it's the cheap snake and they can start breeding with it. But then you're going to have a bunch of spiders and nobody's buying spiders right now, so you're going to get stuck with all those snakes. You know what I mean? I had that experience last season, and now I don't think I have any spiders in my collection, but they were beautiful snakes. I love the pattern. I love what they do. Mine weren't wobbly. Mine corkscrewed a little here and there, but they were healthy snakes. I got nothing against spiders, but I'm not a petting zoo. I'm not a zoo. I have to sell snakes because art school is not free. So
100%. And then if you had the opportunity to go back and kind of relive moments with like Steve Irwin or John Corwin or someone like that, like a herpetologist, what area would you want to herp with them at?
Let's see. I've always wanted to go to Australia, and there's all kinds of crazy cool snakes and stuff in Australia, and everything wants to kill you in Australia. But I've always wanted to go to Australia, so I could see myself doing that out there with somebody. I'm not sure who. I don't really like look to people and are like, I want to spend time with you. You know what I mean? Black Ivory's here. Want to say hi to Justin?
Sure. Oh no! You walked out of the house and we lost.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in front of my house now.
Here we go. Go back inside.
Oh, am I losing signal?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Hey, I'm losing signal. Gotta run. I'm on a live right now, dude. Uh-huh. On Feely's channel. Say hi.
Hi.
Wait, there you go. All right, let's go upstairs. All right, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, bro.
back?
You're good.
Come on,
Yeah,
come on.
you're solid. So Australia.
Yeah,
what,
so
what
Australia.
would be the species that you would want to look for most?
Speaking names. I'm not really good with that kind of stuff. I'm just really into ball pythons, to be honest.
So just whatever you found is what you would want to find.
Whatever, anything.
You're the perfect herper.
Right? Yeah, so I'd be happy with anything I find.
Heck yeah. And then what's one thing that you would see they'll accomplish within the next 5 years to make you set up a goal for yourself?
Clown pies is definitely like a main goal. And then hypo, pastel hypo DGs is another main goal. So I want visual pastel DGs.
Okay.
So I got the building blocks for it. It's going to take time.
Nice. And then how long is it going to be before your social media reaches his? I don't know which way to point.
What are you pointing at?
Justin.
Oh, his social media.
This backwards.
I'll
That
probably
way.
never reach
That
his
way.
social
That
media.
guy.
No, I
I'm
don't
just giving
know.
you
Probably.
crap. I'm
I
giving you
don't know
crap.
if I'll ever reach that.
Do you think you want to push social media that much more, or do you just kind of want to stay focused with marketing your product? Because you
Mostly,
go kind of back and forth from
yeah,
what I've
I
seen.
enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy Instagram the most, but YouTube is where I'm going to get paid. So I'm kind of forced to do it with YouTube. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I
but
don't even mean with YouTube. I like when I said it, I meant like, so I see the reels, like I'll see your posts for your animals, and then I'll see like a goofy reel that you do, which I
yeah,
love. I
that's
appreciate
fun. I
those,
like
but
that.
it's and I think Justin can kind of attest to this, right? Is like when you're trying to build those, you have to be very targeted on what you do and
Right.
how you do it. And it's sometimes hard for us smaller guys because we want to do everything right all the time and just be exciting. But it,
You know, that really comes down to just understanding what works and repeating it over and over again. You know what I mean? So essentially, I know what 3 types of videos do the best. So I'm gonna do those 3 types 100 times. Compared to a guy who doesn't know, he's gonna try 100 different things and
right.
maybe none of them will work.
Right.
You know, then you get frustrated. You're like, man, I'm over this. I'm done. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, at my level, your analytics is your money. They're gonna tell you what you're doing good. They're gonna tell you what you're doing bad. They're gonna tell you what people don't like. They're gonna tell you how long people are watching this video. So if I know if I have a minute video and people are watching it for 10 seconds, maybe I shouldn't post minute videos anymore. Maybe I should come down to maybe 15, 30-second videos since I have 10-second watch time. So it's just those
The way it
small
watches.
things. Exactly.
Okay.
That's all it really is to it at the end of the day.
Makes sense, man. I
You know
appreciate
what I'm
that. Yeah. Freaking Leland, he's getting interviewed and the dude walks out of the room. Like,
See,
that's a
another
wrap,
thing.
bro. Like, Charlemagne would have like started some crap if someone did that on their podcast.
Right. That's
This
another
guy
thing.
asked
You
for
know?
a spot and walks out in his interview. What the
He
heck?
didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
I'm just kidding.
He didn't mean it.
Crap. It ain't like it's serious, man. What's been your favorite thing to do since we need to continue talking until Knucklehead comes back?
As far as animals,
like what's been your favorite experience so far?
my favorite experience really is breeding is extremely fun, but I think the people, the people I've been able to interact with, the people, how the people respond, I think that is like everything, bro. It's everything. When you got little kids who's like, hey, I want to be like that guy. I mean, bro, that's all you can ever ask for. You know what I mean? To inspire somebody. So that to me, it's priceless. It beats everything. Yeah, I'll take that any day.
Nice. Hey, Leland, get back over here, Knucklehead.
Hey, I'm sorry, I had to pee, dude. You're holding me forever.
Bro,
An hour
you
and a half.
freaking... Oh, I'm holding you for...
I drank 3 bottles of water.
That's that old
It's
man
your
bladder.
fault.
I'm just kidding. All right, so Leland, obviously we know the brand name, but how do we get a hold of you if we want your animals, and how many animals are you looking at for sale this year? Just to give us an idea.
This year will probably be 90. I'll probably have around 90 animals for sale. I'm hitting probably 110 or 112 maybe this year. I'm gonna keep 12.
Oh, yeah.
So it depends on what, but I should be selling probably around 90. And I sell most of my snakes on Instagram, but I list everything on Morph Market and I push them back to Morph Market because of the way that the messaging system is, and it keeps me organized. And I have like usually 4 to 5 pay plans going at any given time, and I'm very lenient with these people, and they pay me the food to keep the animal going, and then I'll give them months sometimes. So I work with them because they want to buy a $700-800 animal. They're only making $2,000 a month. I get it. So like all these snakes with the papers on them are all pay plans, and so then I message back on Morph Market, and I keep all my notes on Morph Market. But then if they don't have a Morph Market, then I have a journal that I use. So, but most of the time it's Instagram, direct message, and more market.
All Rikers Reptiles.
All Rikers Reptiles. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right. I hope you're ready. I'm gonna come bug you later. You messed up by being a pop-in guest. No, I'm just
I'll
all
be
right.
ready.
I hope
All
you
right.
all enjoyed Leland. We definitely did not talk animals tonight. We kind of just had a full open chat and got to get to know Leland more. So we may have to bring this guy back in when we're both not
Yeah, we'll just do
tight schedules.
a room tour in the next one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you guys. I
All right.
appreciate you
Thanks,
so
John.
much. I'll let
Happy
you do
4th
your
of July.
thing. Happy 4th of July. We'll talk to you all
Peace.
later. All right. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, we definitely didn't hit animals. We will be reaching back out to Leland here in the future. Next week, we have Robert Powers from Lone Star Reptile Racks. We missed this interview. He had some stuff happening. We had to reschedule. We're finally getting him down. We'll be talking Reptile Gumbo podcast and rack building and all kinds of cool stuff, and talk about stuff other than ball pythons, because we talk a lot of ball pythons here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I love me some ball pythons. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate all the support. Like I said, hey, if you want to upgrade your husbandry, I'm going to pop this out there one more time. Go to vivtechproducts.com and use my code. Like I said, all the money I get from sales of their products is going to a donation to US ARC in September. So make sure you reach out to them, set yourself up. Y'all have a happy and safe freaking 4th of July. Like, so many crazy things can happen around this time. Just make sure you're safe. I love you all. Can't wait to see you next weekend. Y'all stay blessed.